Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much for joining me on my journey through the ecological dynamics and the constraints-led approach for grappling. I wanted to do a video that kind of covered a little bit of what happened, what I did yesterday, because the audio was genuinely so poor. By the end of it, it was virtually unlistenable. Essentially what had happened is I had to recalibrate the making that sound all intellectual, but recalibrate the camera, and the camera's audio came back on when I put it through, so it was getting like a tinny echo on it. But yeah, so I just wanted to cover a couple of things. One of the things that popped up yesterday, so in case you just decided it was a no-go with that previous video, which I understand. Essentially, after the morning class where I was teaching Jaden, I went to the daytime class, and it was Alex and one of our white belts, Theo. Now, Theo is a young athletic dude, strong, explosive, and getting really, really good now. So yeah, he's going to be a handful very, very soon, and he's doing quite a lot of good stuff at the moment. So we there was a couple of things that we did, and I didn't cover them yesterday because I hadn't really had time to think about them, but I was fortunate enough to have a bit of a chat to Alex. So Alex had asked me what I thought of the games that were played, and I was there was a couple of things that I wanted to reiterate really, really strongly. Is that I was able to get into flow states like early on in the piece. So when we first started doing the games, I was able to get into sort of flow states with that, and then I found myself in flow states throughout the entire roll. And you know, one of the things that got me into martial arts was I really wanted that. I didn't know what it was called then. I didn't know anything about getting in the zone or anything like that. I literally just wanted to do what was told to me to be essentially moving meditation, or as I've mentioned before, Mushin, which is the mind of no mind. You would have seen it in The Last Samurai. Too many mind, no mind. But one of the things I wanted to cover was this: what are the characteristics of a flow state? Because when I got in touch with Ian Renshaw of this fame, I mentioned to him that I think Stephen Kotler's work on the flow states and getting into the zone were, incredibly important and interlinked with what we're doing with the constraints-led approach. And he gave me a thumbs up, and yeah, good on you. So that's positive. Always like knowing that I'm on a decent track. But this person, Chick Sent Me High, he actually was the kind of the OG of the flow state world, and basically he comes up. Here's how to get flow. And it's likely to result when most of these 9 components are present, but they're not all required. It's really interesting that the constraints-led approach allows us to do this. It's got a balance of skills and challenge. Stephen Kotler talks, I believe, about like a 4 to 10% challenge to your current skill level. So if something's too difficult, you're going to give up. If it's not difficult enough, then you're going to get bored. But that's exactly what we're doing. We're allowing skills in an area to be challenged just that little bit more, because they don't have to think about too much in the rest of the grappling game. Obviously, the task-based goals, the task-based games have a clear goal. This morning I watched Greg Souders critique critique some games, and I'm actually pretty happy that that the way, I wouldn't say I'm perfect by any stretch, but the way I've been describing games, I think is I'm doing much better than the ones that he put up. I might be playing some more simple games, so that's also a factor. But as Greg pointed out in this video, a lot of these guys are just doing situational sparring. It's like, and you just have to escape. Well, what does that mean? And so a clear goal, yep. Immediate feedback, well, there's nothing more immediate than the person stopping you in your tracks, or getting past them. Concentration focused only on one thing. This is sort of the bedrock of the constraints-led approach. You've got one task, or one specific task to focus on, and if your intention is on that, then your concentration. Like if I got the intention and the attention going in one direction and focused on one thing, it's a constraints-led approach. A feeling of control or mastery. Well, here's the thing. So yesterday, the more I got to engage with both Alex and Theo, the more I found that I was more in control of what I was doing. A sense of effortlessness or ease. Yeah, that's a weird. I don't think that's a oh, hang on. Well, it's just if they're present. So, when you get in flow, everything seems like it's easy as, because you're not getting in your way of yourself. Altered time perception, yep, definitely. That's a thing as well. I think the only issue with that is like, yes, it slows everything down, but also when you're exerting that much energy, because I think a lot of the flow state stuff that, no, actually I'm not going to say that. I was going to say that martial arts requires a lot more, actually no, I would say that, yeah, martial arts probably requires the most body engagement, whole body engagement, and so an altered time perception, if things are 6 minutes can feel like 20 minutes because things are slowed down, and that if you find yourself conscious within that, which I suppose is taking you out of flow state. Anyway, this is an area I'm really interested in, and this was really cool. The consciousness and action integration. That is literally perception action coupling, right? So your conscious and subconscious minds work seamlessly together in flow. Yes, I mean, and that is literally what ecological dynamics talks about, is the perception action approach. If Rob Gray got a hold of this, I think he'd be very, very happy to explore this further. Autotelic, I don't know, intrinsic motivation. Yeah, so as I said yesterday, I am now motivated to become like the best I can be at this, and it's got nothing to do with what I've got wrapped around my waist or anything like that. But yeah, one of the so afterwards, when Alex asked me, what I thought, so I've got I sent him back through kind of a good summary of it. Some of the games we were playing, I've played similar ones, and the thing I think was they were a bit too easy. Was he said just the arm. I would have suggested, so his thing was two limbs on one limb, essentially. I don't think it was even as direct as that. But what was happening was it was quite easy to, just grab someone who's got to stay connected to you. The second game was a bit better in that we had to get into a leg entanglement, and I was really enjoying that. I actually managed to pull off K-guard and get around that leg through K-guard, which was really cool, considering I kind of taught myself K-guard through teaching, through designing practice for K-guard to emerge. I thought that was really cool. So there was a couple of things that I mentioned to Alex, which is getting into getting buy-in up front. So one thing that I have been trying to do, I'm not that awesome at it yet. Again, I wish I was. This is a journey. I'm getting better at all times. The language that I'm using, I've started getting buy-in a lot more. There was kind of like a deer in headlights look, and this is something that I saw in Theo's eyes at the front. He's got a purple belt and a black belt sitting there, and we're about to play this game, and I could just see he was like, I don't know what to do, sort of thing, and there was like this fear in his eyes that he was going to fuck up, and it was like, no, this is the time to fuck up. We've got a constraint, we've got a task-based game. You can fuck up 1,000 times, it doesn't matter. One thing I really liked about practice yesterday was it was rotation. So it was me and Theo with me on my back. Then I'd get up and have to go against Alex, and so there was kind of and then it would rotate Alex with Theo and rotate. So we're kind of getting into it fresh with, and it was kind of a bit luckier for me, I think, being that I had a white belt that I could implement stuff on, not easily, but with better timing and all that sort of thing, and a black belt who knew what I was doing and could sort of shut stuff down a lot easier. So that was good for me. I actually really feel like I slipped into the zone straight away. But yeah, I think just having buy-in up the front is still so significant, especially for the beginners. So I mentioned that I would say the only thing was it was like when we're doing the rotation, we only kind of went one way. So it was like I was always standing over Alex, he was always standing over Theo. But then the next game, so it would have been better if it was like I was standing and then we flipped over and then we rotated that way or something like that, just to give up and down opportunity for in each game, although time can get away from you in that respect. One of the things that came out of it, so we were entering these leg and the whole goal was just to get basically some sort of enclosure around the top of the leg, top of the hip, and collect it with the arm. So essentially the last game was to get into Ashi, cross Ashi, double Ashi, or we identified the game over, and it was a really good question from Theo. He asked, is it, I I'm scared. He said literally, I'm scared of leg entanglements because I am concerned that I'm going to, turn the wrong way. And he asked which way is the wrong way, and so we did sort of a bit of an analysis of which way your legs are going, where it is on the hip, that sort of thing. And I think that was valuable to an extent. But I think he got more. I would suggest he got more out of the actual playing in the leg entanglement, and realizing, there's certain things that you can feel straight away that these are tight, and so you wouldn't want to fight it. And I think, again, this is like one of the, Greg Souders talks about how he never has injuries on the mat, even though they're going full force most of the time. And I would suggest that he's not bullshitting, because you've got such constraints. There is no need to do something, super out of the box that a white belt might end up doing, because you've got specific tasks. There's no point in trying to do a windmill, a windmill pass and then clobber someone in the face, because what you're trying to do is just keep their hips down or something. It's a very, very task-based focus. But then, when we started out, so we started out at the end goal, which was, you've actually got a leg entanglement and they're standing up and you've got your thing secured. And it was a case of destabilizing. And again, destabilizing is just such a crucial figure in everything to do with jiu-jitsu. I mean, I can't stress enough how A, important it is, and B, how destabilization and timing is not emphasized more. Even at the John Danaher seminar, he was like, you push on them and then you pull them back. And it's like, is that what happens? Because, I then tell someone, you push on them and then pull back, and he didn't push back. And so now there I am, there's obviously stuff that you can do, but you're teaching this weird, abstract theory of what people do, and it's not until they feel it that they're going to feel it. So, but yeah, I really liked that. By the end of it, you could see that the leg entanglements didn't concern him as much, and I think this was probably the reason why I wanted to bring this up today. I wrote a sentence to Alex that I thought was quite poignant and to the point, succinct. Says exactly what I've been trying to say for most of it. So this methodology, it works because it builds confidence within defined parameters that drastically reduce the possibility for injury. So now that he's got sort of a bit more confidence that, if someone gets a hold of that leg, I just don't flip out and try and rip my leg out or try and flip one way or the other. So anyway, I thought I would give that a little bit of a longer video because I messed up yesterday's one. Thank you very much. Much love. I'll see you in the next video. I will get better at this. Apologies for the poor audio.